Have you ever found yourself lost in memories, replaying old regrets, painful moments, or missed opportunities? Maybe it's a harsh word you wish you could take back, a relationship that ended in disappointment, or a time when you felt you should have chosen differently. The past has a way of following us, whispering in our ears, making us question, what if things had been different? For many of us, especially as we grow older, these thoughts don't just come and go, they settle in, like uninvited guests. We carry them with us, allowing them to shape our present, to steal our joy, to hold us back. But here's a question worth asking. Is it possible to truly let go? And more importantly, if we don't, what is it costing us? There's an old Zen story that offers a powerful lesson. Two monks were traveling on a journey when they came across a woman standing at the edge of a river. The water was deep, and she was afraid to cross. Without hesitation, the older monk lifted her onto his back, carried her across, and gently set her down. The younger monk, shocked by what he had just witnessed, remained silent as they continued walking. Hours passed. Finally, the younger monk couldn't contain himself and blurted out, "Why did you carry that woman? We monks are not supposed to touch women." The older monk simply smiled and said, "I put her down at the riverbank. Why are you still carrying her?" This story, simple yet profound, holds a truth many of us need to hear. The past is like that woman at the river. It is meant to be carried only for as long as necessary, then gently set down. But so often, we refuse to let go. We replay old conversations, relive mistakes, and hold on to pain as if doing so will somehow change what has already happened. But what if the past is not meant to be carried, but simply to be learned from and released? Zen Buddhism teaches that letting go is not about forgetting, it's about shifting our relationship with the past. It's about freeing ourselves from the weight of old memories so we can live fully in the present. It's about choosing peace over regret, lightness over burden. So how do we do it? How do we release years of regret, sorrow, or nostalgia? In this guide, we'll explore practical and deeply meaningful ways to let go through mindfulness, self-compassion, and simple yet powerful Zen practices. Whether you are struggling with regret, loss, or the weight of time itself, these lessons will help you step forward with a heart unburdened. If you've ever wished for the ability to finally release the past and embrace the life that still lies ahead, stay with me. Let's take this journey together. And before we begin, if these teachings speak to you, consider supporting our channel Buddhist Life Philosophy by subscribing, leaving a comment, or sharing your thoughts. Your support helps keep these timeless teachings alive for more people seeking peace and wisdom. Now let's begin. We all carry pieces of the past within us. Some are warm and comforting, memories of laughter, love, and moments that made life feel full. Others are heavy, like old wounds that never quite healed, regrets that replay like an old song, or moments of loss that still bring an ache to the heart. If we are not careful, the past can become like a chain wrapped around our ankles. We try to move forward, but something keeps pulling us back. The weight of what was makes it difficult to embrace what is. But have you ever stopped to ask, why do we hold on to the past so tightly? The truth is, our attachment to the past is not just about the events themselves, it's about the meaning we assign to them. We hold on to past hurts because we feel that if we let go, it means what happened to us didn't matter. We hold on to regret because we believe that somehow, by replaying it, we can rewrite history. We hold on to nostalgia because the present feels uncertain and the past feels safe, even if it was imperfect. But here's the paradox: the past only has power over us if we keep feeding it. We cannot change what has already happened, but we can change how we carry it. There's a Zen story that beautifully illustrates this. A young monk was walking through the mountains with his master. As they walked, the master picked up a large rock and handed it to the young monk. "Carry this," he said. The young monk obeyed, carrying the heavy stone as they continued their journey. Hours passed and his arms ached, his shoulders burned. Finally, exhausted, he turned to his master and asked, "Why am I carrying this rock?" The master simply smiled. Hans said, "Why are you still holding it?" The young monk, confused but realizing the lesson, dropped the rock. A wave of relief washed over him. The weight was gone. not just from his arms but from his mind. We do the same thing in life. We carry burdens that no longer serve us: anger, regret, grief, guilt. But the moment we realize we have the power to set them down, everything changes. 1. One of the most powerful ways to recognize and release attachment is through a simple yet profound practice: writing a letter you will never send. Find a quiet space where you won't be interrupted. Take a deep breath and think of a past event, a person, or a feeling that still lingers in your heart. Write a letter addressing this memory, emotion, or individual. Pour out everything: your anger, sadness, longing, or even love. When you are finished, read the letter out loud to yourself. Then tear it up or burn it as a symbolic act of release. This practice allows you to give your emotions a voice without letting them control you. It helps you recognize what you have been holding on to and empowers you to begin letting it go. Another powerful way to recognize attachment is through mindful awareness. The next time you feel trapped in past memories, pause and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Is this thought helping me or holding me back? If I let go of this thought, what would change? Simply observing your own mind without judgment allows you to detach from the emotion. The past is not who you are. It is simply something you have experienced. Recognizing attachment is the first step toward freedom. The past is like a book. You can revisit its pages, but you don't have to live there. You are the author of your next chapter. So ask yourself, what burdens am I ready to put down? Because the moment you choose to let go, you step into a lighter, freer way of living. Life moves like a river, always flowing, never still. No matter how tightly we hold on to a moment, it will eventually slip through our fingers like water. This truth is at the heart of Zen wisdom. Nothing lasts forever. Everything changes. The Tao. Seasons shift, the body ages, loved ones come and go, and what once felt permanent dissolves into memory. Yet despite knowing this, we resist change. We cling to what is familiar, hoping to freeze time, to keep things as they are. But life does not work that way. There is an old Zen teaching that says the glass is already broken. Imagine holding a beautiful glass in your hand. You drink from it, admire it, perhaps it even has sentimental value. But one day it will crack, fall, or be lost. Instead of fearing that moment, Zen invites us to embrace it, to see that the glass in its essence was always temporary. This is not a sad realization, it is a freeing one. When we accept that everything is impermanent, we stop grasping, stop fearing loss, and instead learn to appreciate what we have while it is here. But acceptance is not always easy. When we lose someone we love, when our bodies remind us of the years that have passed, when life takes an unexpected turn, it is natural to resist. There is pain in letting go. Yet, it is this very resistance that causes suffering. The pain of loss is inevitable, but suffering comes from our refusal to accept what is. If we can soften our grip, if we can see change not as an enemy, but as the natural rhythm of life, we find a kind of peace that is unshaken by the tides of time. One way to deeply connect with the truth of impermanence is to observe nature. Watch the leaves as they change color in the fall, turning brilliant shades of red and gold before drifting gently to the ground. Notice how the waves rise and fall, never holding their shape for more than a moment. Look at the sky. It is never the same twice. Everything in nature exists in a state of constant transformation, yet it does not resist. A tree does not grieve the loss of its leaves. It knows they will return in the spring. The ocean does not try to keep a wave from breaking. It simply flows. When we align ourselves with this natural rhythm, we learn to let go with grace. A powerful practice to cultivate this mindset is called the breath of impermanence. Sit quietly and take a deep breath in, feeling the air fill your lungs. Hold it for a moment, then exhale slowly. As you do, notice that you cannot hold on to the breath. It must leave your body to make space for the next one. Each inhale is a beginning. Each exhale is an ending. Life moves in the same way. The past breath is gone, the future breath has not yet come, and all we truly have is this moment. Practicing this awareness helps us embrace change rather than fear it. Impermanence does not mean we should not love deeply or cherish the people in our lives. In fact, it teaches us the opposite. When we understand that nothing lasts forever, we become more present, more grateful. We stop taking things for granted. We say, "I love you" more often. We hold hands a little longer. We appreciate a sunset, not because it will last forever, but because it won't. This is the beauty of impermanence. It reminds us that every moment is precious. In the end, resisting change is like trying to hold on to a river. No matter how tightly we grasp, the water will slip through our fingers. But if we learn to flow with it, to trust in the unfolding of life, we find a peace that is not dependent on circumstances. Nothing lasts forever, but that is not a reason for despair. It is a reason to love more, to live more fully, and to embrace each fleeting moment with an open heart. There is a quiet truth that many of us come to realize as we grow older. Life is not something that happens in the past or the future. It is happening right now. Yet, how often do we truly experience the present moment? The mind is always wandering, caught between the weight of yesterday and the uncertainty of tomorrow. We relive old conversations, dwell on past mistakes, or worry about what is to come. Meanwhile, the present, this very breath, this very moment, slips away unnoticed like sand falling through our fingers. There is an old Zen saying, "When walking, walk. When eating, eat." It sounds simple, almost too simple, but in these words lies a profound lesson. Most of us do not just walk, we walk while thinking about something else. We do not just eat, we eat while watching television, checking our phones, or letting our minds drift to unfinished business. We live in fragments, always reaching for the next thing, always lost in thought. But what if, for just a moment, we truly arrived in the present? What if we fully tasted each bite of our food, felt the warmth of the sun on our skin, or truly listened when someone spoke to us? To live in the present is not to ignore the past or abandon the future. It is simply to recognize that the only place life truly happens is here and now. The past is a memory, the future is a possibility, but the present is real. And yet, many of us spend our days as if we are waiting for something, a better time, a different circumstance, a moment when everything feels just right. We tell ourselves that once we retire, once the house is paid off, once the children are grown, once our health improves, then we will truly live. But life is not waiting for us. It is unfolding in this very moment, whether we choose to be present for it or not. A simple but powerful practice to bring ourselves back to the present is mindful listening. The next time you have a conversation, resist the urge to think about what you will say next. Instead, give the other person your full attention. Notice the sound of their voice, the emotions behind their words. Feel their presence. When we listen with presence, we do not just hear words, we connect on a deeper level. And in that connection there is life. Another way to cultivate presence is through mindful touch. Choose an object, a cup of tea, a smooth stone, a piece of fabric. Close your eyes and feel its texture, its temperature, its weight in your hand. Notice how often the mind tries to wander. Gently bring it back to the simple act of touch. This small practice reminds us that presence is not about doing something extraordinary. It is about being fully here in whatever we are doing. Many of us have spent a lifetime chasing happiness, believing it is always just around the corner. But happiness is not something we find in the future. It is something we uncover in the present. The laughter of a loved one, the taste of a ripe piece of fruit, the sound of rain against the window, these are the small, ordinary moments that make up a beautiful life. But they can only be appreciated if we are present to receive them. There is a Zen story of a man who was being chased by a tiger. Running for his life, he came to the edge of a cliff. Below, another tiger waited. Trapped, he noticed a wild strawberry growing from the side of the cliff. He reached out, plucked it, and took a bite. "Delicious," he whispered. The story is not about ignoring danger, nor is it about denying reality. It is about the ability to find beauty in a single moment, even when life is uncertain. To live in the present is the greatest gift we can give ourselves. It is where life happens. It is where love is felt. It is where peace is found. And the best part? It is always available to us, right here, right now. There are wounds that time cannot erase, words spoken in anger, betrayals that left scars, regrets that weigh heavily on the heart. Sometimes the deepest pain is not caused by others, but by ourselves, the mistakes we have made, the choices we wish we could undo, the things we did or failed to do. We carry these burdens long after the moment has passed, holding on to them as if punishing ourselves will somehow make things right. But what if the path to peace is not through punishment, but through forgiveness? Forgiveness is often misunderstood. Many believe that to forgive is to excuse, to forget, or to pretend that the hurt never happened. But true forgiveness is none of these things. It is not about erasing the past, but about freeing ourselves from its grip. It is not about saying that what happened was right, but about refusing to let it define our future. Forgiveness is not a gift we give to others. It is a gift we give to ourselves. There is an old Zen story about two travelers walking through a vast, barren land. One carried a heavy bag of stones, while the other walked freely. After many miles, the burdened traveler collapsed, exhausted. His companion asked, "Why do you carry those stones?" The man replied, "Because long ago someone threw them at me, and I cannot put them down." The companion looked at him with kindness and said, "The stones did not break you when they were thrown. Why do you let them break you now?" We do the same in our lives. We carry the weight of old wounds, keeping them close, replaying the pain. But every time we relive a past hurt, we allow it to wound us again. The act that hurt us may have lasted only a moment, but our unwillingness to let go keeps it alive for years. Who does that suffering truly serve? One of the most powerful ways to begin the process of forgiveness is through a practice called the empty chair. Find a quiet space and set up an empty chair in front of you. Imagine the person you need to forgive sitting there. If you need to forgive yourself, imagine a younger version of you, the one who made mistakes, the one who did not know what you now know. Speak to them. Say everything you need to say. Let the anger, the sorrow, the disappointment rise to the surface. Then when you are ready, tell them, "I release you." Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, let go of just a little of the weight you have been carrying. This practice is not about forcing yourself to forgive, but about making space for healing to begin. Sometimes we hold on to resentment because it gives us a sense of control. If we let go, we fear that we are allowing those who hurt us to escape accountability. But the truth is, forgiveness is not about them. It is about us. It is about reclaiming our own peace. Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. The only one harmed is ourselves. Self-forgiveness is often the hardest of all. Many of us have spent a lifetime being our own harshest critics, judging ourselves more harshly than we would ever judge another. But what if we spoke to ourselves the way we would speak to a dear friend? What if, instead of punishment, we offered understanding? Every mistake, every regret, every moment of weakness was a lesson. We are all imperfect. We are all learning. And just as we would not condemn a child for stumbling as they learn to walk, we should not condemn ourselves for the missteps we have taken along the way. There is a gentle practice in Zen called writing forgiveness into water. Go to a stream, a river, or even a bowl of water. Take a small stick or your finger and write the name of the person you need to forgive on the surface of the water. Watch as the letters disappear. Let it be a reminder that nothing is permanent, that pain does not have to be carried forever. Forgiveness is not always immediate. It is a journey, sometimes slow, sometimes difficult. But every step we take toward it is a step toward freedom. The past is heavy, but we do not have to carry it. The moment we choose to forgive, we put down the stones, we release the burden, and we walk forward, lighter, freer, and at peace. As the journey through these Zen teachings comes to a close, there is a quiet realization that settles in. The past is gone, the future is uncertain, and the only place we truly exist is here, now. Perhaps you have carried memories for years, holding on to them like old letters tucked away in a forgotten drawer. Perhaps regrets have weighed heavily on your heart, whispering, "If only," in the stillness of the night. Or maybe the idea of letting go felt impossible, like trying to release something that has become part of you. But the truth is, nothing was ever meant to be held forever. The river of life keeps flowing. The past has already drifted downstream, and the future has not yet arrived. You are standing on the riverbank with a choice. Do you continue reaching for what has already passed, or do you turn your gaze toward the beauty of what is right in front of you? Letting go does not mean forgetting. It does not mean pretending that pain never existed. It simply means loosening the grip, allowing yourself to breathe and making space for something new. Forgiveness, both for yourself and others, is part of that journey. The mistakes of the past cannot be rewritten, but they can be learned from. The people who hurt us cannot always undo what was done, but we can choose not to let their actions define our lives. When we forgive, we do not change the past. We change our relationship with it. We shift from being prisoners of old wounds to being free souls, unburdened by what no longer serves us. Living in the present is the greatest act of love we can give ourselves. It is a practice, a daily choice to wake up and say, "Today I will be here. Today I will not dwell in yesterday or worry about tomorrow. Today I will simply live." It means finding joy in the smallest things, the warmth of a cup of tea in your hands, the laughter of a grandchild, the feeling of the breeze against your skin. Life is not measured in grand moments, but in these quiet, fleeting ones. The teachings of Zen remind us that peace is not something we must chase. It is something we uncover when we stop running. It has always been here, waiting for us in the stillness, in the breath, in the simple act of being. The weight you have carried, the thoughts that have held you back, the pain that has lingered, none of it defines you. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are the awareness that sees beyond them, the presence that exists beyond the stories you tell yourself. So, take a deep breath. Feel this moment. Let the past be what it was. Let the future be what it will be. And allow yourself to truly live in the only time that ever matters, now. If these teachings have resonated with you, I invite you to continue this journey with us. Subscribe to Buddhist Life Philosophy, share your thoughts in the comments, or simply take these lessons into your heart and carry them with you. The path to peace is not walked alone, and your presence here means more than you know. Until next time, breathe, let go, and be here.